Hello, everybody. Welcome to your latest lesson. Today is lesson number 4, and we will be covering actually just one chapter of this lesson. It's chapter 9, alcohol, and it's actually one of the more favorite chapters I think that students have a chance to read and process through. Um, is certainly applicable to many of our experiences in terms of our own consumption or other family or community members, and sometimes overconsumption as well. We will be looking at the history of alcohol use, looking at data and the impact of alcohol on the body, short term and long term, talking about tolerance, and so forth. First and foremost, apologies for not being able to show you my screen, my actual desktop today. Having some technical difficulties with my setup here. And this is not normally the computer I use, but the computer I generally use, I can't get it to connect to my monitor for some reason today. So it's having a bad day. I do hope everybody is safe and sound. Today's March 21st, 2020. So we all are trying to make sense of COVID-19 and the implications and so forth. And I certainly wish you and your families um, the greatest health possible and safety. After reading chapter 9, there is there's some outside activities I want to ask you to participate in. One is a short document my staff produced on alcohol use. It's actually an excerpt of a much broader literature review on multiple drugs, but I'm just asking you to look at the alcohol section. What is a literature review? It's basically an analysis of dozens, if not hundreds, of generally research-based, peer-reviewed articles to identify patterns in the research outcomes and identify best practice as related to prevention or substance use in this case. So the literature review section you will be reading is specifically on alcohol and consumption patterns, how much folks are using. That's what we mean by consumption pattern. In alcohol's case, that's the consumption of alcohol, how much someone is drinking, over what period of time. Sometimes we call that duration, and at what intensity in terms of how much. I'll be asking you to look at the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism website as well. Ask you to look at that for maybe 15 minutes. Do some investigation on your own and be ready to discuss your findings on the discussion boards. We'll also ask you to look at some alcohol usage patterns from the National Institute of Drug Abuse. So that's some online material we'll be asking you to take a look at. There's 2 discussion boards. One discussion board is based on your NIA, or the Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism website material, and the secondary one is on drunk driving. And this information is from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Statistical patterns of drunk driving, and I will also ask you to do some research into your local state. Usually this is, you can research with your local Department of Health and Human Services or Traffic Safety Board or DMV, excuse me, and try to determine as much as you can about drunk driving in your particular state. And tell us a little bit about what you learned for your state. And of course, in this lesson, since we only have one chapter, we have one chapter quiz to complete. Again, I wish everyone safety and health, and please take care.